very, very simple. You have to get into the habit of trying things. I feel like too many of us have things that we want to do, but we never actually end up doing. We have all these things that we sort of enjoy or we're kind of passionate about, but we never really take them serious. And I think a big part of the reason as to why is because we kind of feel like it's too far-fetched or we'd never be able to do that. So as a result, we just kind of have it in the back of our minds or something that, you know, like I enjoy that thing, it makes me happy, but that's all it is at the moment. It's just something that I enjoy, when actually it could be more. And I want to put emphasis on the could be, because that's the thing. It's always a possibility that we could actually make it happen, but that's only as long as we actually make an attempt. The probability of us actually getting it increases the moment that we decide to actually try. But if we never try, the probability stays at zero, because it's not just going to drop on our laps one day when we wake up and boom, we have it, it's there for us. That's just never gonna happen. We're gonna have to go and get it for ourselves. And I know for a fact, you guys out there watching this, I know for a fact you also have like dreams and passions and things that you know you would enjoy doing, but you haven't actually tried to do because you feel like it's an impossible dream, or you feel like you wouldn't be good at it when you haven't even attempted it. So how would you know? And I think I mentioned it on my previous videos as well, but things only look unattainable before you've actually done the work, before you've actually tried to go and get them. For example, before I started making these cinematic videos, I used to see them all the time on social media, and now I think, wow, like, that's amazing. I wish I could do something like that. And I never really thought that I could. I just thought that is something that looks amazing, but it's not something that I could do. So I never really sort of tried to do it or actually made an attempt. And I used to always think as well, I bet they're using a really expensive camera or a camera that I'm not going to be able to afford at the moment, so there's no point. But when I actually started practicing and actually got down to work and I started understanding how it actually works, I started to understand that, do you know what, this is not as unattainable as I thought it was. It only looked impossible from the outside, but the minute I literally just put one foot in there, I knew I would have been able to do it. And I'm actually quite happy and proud that eventually I made that step. Eventually I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I think we should adopt that kind of attitude a lot more, you know, when we're faced with things that we find difficult or things we've never done before that we do want to do. I think there's nothing wrong with being intimidated in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with having doubts, but our default response to that should just be, okay, I'm still gonna do it. I'm actually going to give it a try. If it works, amazing. If it doesn't, fine, at least I tried. And I think that's so important, actually trying to do things. There's actually nothing that upsets me more than a person who I know for a fact they've got things that they'd love to do. I know for a fact they've got things that they're passionate about, but they're not willing to actually pursue them or do anything about them. And sometimes I observe those people, and what I've realized as well is how powerful that fear of failure is. I know for a fact if they knew that they would 100% succeed, they would go and do it tomorrow. But it's just the fact that they're unsure, they need certainty before actually making that step. But obviously you're never gonna get certainty for anything that you're doing anyways, which obviously means that just that one thing that's holding them back is that fear of failing. And for myself, that's not how I'm trying to live my life. I'm trying to live my life in a way where when I want something, I go and get it, or I try to achieve it, or I try and get it. For me, it's not about being a person that always gets what they want. For me, it's about being someone who's not afraid to actually try and get what they want. I think that's the type of life that I want to live. Not just having dreams and aspirations that I bury in the back of my mind, but to actually try and explore those visions and explore those aspirations and see if it's truly something that I do enjoy. Because obviously sometimes you might think that you want something, but that's only before you get that thing. Once you actually get it, you realize that, you know what, maybe this isn't what I actually wanted. But you would obviously never know that until you went and got it. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, to be fair. I feel like we should be constantly reinventing ourselves, constantly trying to evolve, trying to find out new things about ourselves, because, you know, we're human. Our preferences change, who we are as people changes. What we want today might not be the same thing that we want tomorrow. And for me, I think it's very important to explore all those things, because in turn you're gonna learn so much about yourself. And yeah, man, when I'm old, I want to look back and look at my life and think, yeah, I truly tried things. I truly tried to pursue the things that I wanted, and I lived life with courage, because it does take courage to actually give it a try. So yeah, if you've watched the video up until this point, thank you very much. And what I'd like to say is, don't be afraid to try things, and don't let that fear of failure hold you back. And also, good luck.